Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Washem Makal Kodash, double and several apostles, great millstone, and taught me his truth. And blessings all you sincere laborers out there pushing his truth, and all sincerity and faith and honesty. I'm that fellow servant Kanakla coming to you once again, GMS St. Petersburg, Florida. GMS Yahushai, the Holy One. Alright, I'd like to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai put the spirit on me to do another video, and as you can see, this is going to be a current events, current news, man. Current war, current things popping off right now. I'm gonna get right into it. Elder Zahar just recently made a video of Ezekiel 38, man. Where it consists about Gog and Magog. Okay, so that Third World War, Russia being a guard unto all these other nations, ultimately America shooting missiles on this place. Okay, so I'm going to go into this article here. It says, as U.S. leaves Syria, Bolton threatens Damascus with strong response in case of chemical attack. As you can see, the same thing. They try to overthrow Syria by blaming Assad using chemical weapons on his people. But it didn't happen. Russia came through, once again. It says that the U.S. is preparing to withdraw its troops from Syria. It seems little has changed in Washington's vision of the conflict. Okay, so they're preparing to bring troops from Syria because, Assad has regained most of his countries back that America claimed that they were there to fight terrorism. Okay, so Russia has helped Assad gain majority of his country back, help get the country under control again, thanks to Russia. So it's really no need for America to continue to abide there. Okay, it says it's still a problem, and Tomahawks are going to rain on Syria if weapons mass destruction are used. Despite President Donald Trump's announcement he will withdraw the 2,000 U.S. troops stationed in Syria, being perceived as a sudden change in course on the ground. It appears that it has hardly affected Washington's Syria policy in general. The latest thinly veiled threat of strike on Syria was on Saturday made by U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton on his way to Israel. Alright, so they still threaten Israel. Okay, they can threaten Israel, but Russia's helping Israel out, man. It's like they can still threaten Syria. Okay, but Russia's still helping Syria out. I believe possibility Syria also has S-300s, not S-400 missile defense system. Alright, so they're pretty much messing with Russia if they're messing with Syria. Okay, it says there's absolutely no change in the U.S. position against the use of chemical weapons by the Syrian regime. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the point because this is not really the main thing I want to focus here. Okay, skim through this article real quick. Go down. Get into this. It says the U.S. has squarely blamed Damascus for almost any chemical weapons in Syria, while refusing to consider any other side as a culprit. So they blame Assad for these things. Okay, it says the evidence that did not fit the accepted narrative. Okay, so they came up with evidence that didn't fit the narrative. Okay, so they said Assad did this, but the evidence that they presented doesn't fit what they're saying. Okay, it has been routinely ignored by the Washington and its allies. And in April 2018, the U.S., France, and U.K. launched a massive strike in which they targeted Syrian government, military, and civilian facilities. The strike was conducted following an alleged chemical weapon attack in the town of Douma, 10 kilometers north of Damascus. At that time, Washington and its allies chose not to wait for an international chemical weapons watchdog probe to begin. Okay, so they didn't wait, man, to go in for the investigation. Okay, they didn't wait for that. So they just went and started striking. And I believe when they did carry out that strike, majority of those missiles were intercepted. Okay, there were no casualties, if I'm not mistaken. All right, it says the Western version of the incident was disputed not only by Russia and Syria, which said it was a false flag operation staged by the militants entrenched in the Douma, but even by some Western journalists who actually dared to report from the field. So, all right, the West version of the incident was disputed not only by Russia and Syria, all right, that was a false flag, but also by some Western journalists. So even people of the U.S. is like, yo, that was a false flag. All right, they didn't carry out those chemical attacks. So that's just the U.S. All right, there's propaganda blaming Assad, okay? And I got a quick video I'm going to play here in a minute. I'm trying to figure out when I'm bringing it out. It says the U.S. effort to counter Iranian aggression will continue along protection of Israel just as it had before. Okay, so the point was, if you really are going to digging, the point was going into Syria is to get closer to Iran. That was like that gateway to get into Iran. But as you can see, it was a complete failure in Syria because Russia came in to help, according to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. All right, be thou a guard unto them, Gog and Magog. All right. It says, I'm gonna go down to this part. It says a year earlier, a chemical attack in the northern city of Ka'an Shaikan was also squarely blamed on Assad. So all these chemical attacks are just blamed on Assad. All right, because they need to blame something. They need to prey on the people. They need to show videos of people crying, videos of kids dying from chemical weapons, and just because you have to have the people on your side to back the war, to support the war. You know what I mean? If not, you have uproars in your country. We got to play on the emotions of the people. So they show a few video clips, Slakia, on your nearest news station, CBS, ABC News, Bay News 9, or whatever your local news station. They play those little clips so you can support our tax dollars being spent on attacking whatever country they trying to demonize, okay, or trying to blame. All right. It says Washington similarly launched a missile attack in Syria Army, a air base, days after the incident without waiting for any investigation. So once again, they just blaming the people and not doing any ongoing investigation. All right. So they're pulling out of Syria. Okay. That's that same lie, that agenda, and actually, if you go inside of these comments here, you can actually see the same thing. Let me see real quick. See if I can find it real quick. As you can see the comments here, all right, and this look like someone from Britain, if I'm not mistaken. Excuse me, I don't know the exact flag that is, but I believe it's Britain. It says, so they are planning for ISIS to stage another chemical attack, complete with white helmets and what have you. What would they achieve by raining more missiles on an already heavily damaged and suffering country than the production of more deadly missiles to fill the pockets of the military-industrial complex elite? All right, so as you can see, you got the people here. All right, they're not stupid concerning this war. They know how America works. They blame, okay. Right here it says, right here, hey Bolton, the only ones using chemical weapons in Syria are your allies, all right, which would be the U.S., okay, and all the other nations that's hand in hand in this thing. And look, he got 46 likes. So everybody, you can see everybody see what's going on. Everybody knows what's going on. But anyways, whether they pull out of Syria or not, all right, the main point is these people right here. And I got an article. The main people is Iran, all right? That's the end game. That's the end goal, okay? They had a certain amount of countries that they needed to invade by a certain time, and Iran was the last person, okay? They completed Iraq. They completed Afghanistan, all right? They went into Syria. They went into Libya, killed Gaddafi. I believe they also went into Yemen, if I'm not mistaken. But Iran, the point is Iran was the last country that they were supposed to invade, okay? And this is the point. This is why. It says Iran has new potential buyers for its oil, defying U.S. sanctions. Okay, because Iran is heavily rich in oil. Iran is a very, very key player in the Middle East. Very strong country in the Middle East, man. Okay, and Russia and China also have invested a lot of money in Iran. Okay, so Iran has potential oil buyers. So you have all these nations, even American allies, that have contracts with Iran to buy oil. Okay, defying U.S. sanctions. That's why they putting sanctions on Iran. That's why they throwing out the Iranian nuclear deal. That's why they getting rid of all that stuff, because they really want Iran. They want to come up with a reason to go into Iran, man, because Iran's resources and its influence that it has in the Middle East. All right, so I'm gonna play this quick clip here.
we economic hitmen have managed to create the world's first truly global empire, and it's basically a secret empire. We do it many ways, but principally we identify a country that has resources our corporations covet, like oil, arrange a huge loan to that country from the World Bank or one of its sisters. The money never actually goes to the country, it goes to our own corporations to build big infrastructure projects in that country that help a few very wealthy people, but don't benefit the majority of the people who are too poor to buy electricity or have cars to drive on the highways, and yet they're left holding a huge debt that they can't repay. So we go back at some point and say, you know, you can't pay your debts. Give us a pound of flesh. Sell your oil real cheap to our oil companies. Vote with us on the next critical UN vote. Allow us to build a military base in your backyard. Something along these lines. And when we fail, the jackals go in and either overthrow or assassinate these leaders. And if the jackals...
Recent person they tried to do that to, assassinate, was Nicolas, the president of Venezuela, man. They tried to assassinate him recently, man. They tried to do that to him, okay? Because why? Venezuela, a country heavily rich in oil, all right, is bankrupt, is being destroyed. Why? The U.S. is destroying Venezuela, man, okay? The U.S. is doing that to Venezuela, okay? So I'm going to go on.
Fail as they did in Iraq, then we send in the military. I don't think the failure is capitalism. I think it's a specific kind of capitalism that we've developed. We've created what I consider a mutant, viral form of capitalism. And this mutant form of capitalism, which I think is really a predatory form of capitalism, has created an extremely unstable, unsustainable, unjust, and very, very dangerous world. I've met a lot of terrorists. I've interviewed them for books. I've never met one who wanted to be a terrorist. They're desperate people. If we want to get rid of terrorism, we must get rid of the root causes, that cancer that is destroying our whole system. Because I think it's really important that we understand today we cannot have homeland security unless we understand that the whole planet is our homeland.
So that's it on that, man. All right, so as you can see, They like to infiltrate the countries, all right, and if you don't listen what they say, they just come in and bomb the shit out of you, man. All right, that's really how it works. So despite Biden U.S. sanctions and pressure on other countries, Tehran has found partners to buy its oil, and the number of such clients has actually increased, according to Iran's deputy oil minister. All right, it says after the U.S. pulled out a landmark nuclear deal and reimposed sanctions on the Islamic Republic. That's why you're not able to come up. Here it is, so-called Obama came up with a so-called deal, right? And Trump comes in and throw it out, right? Because their purpose was never peace with Iran. Their purpose was the war, man. All right, so that's why he threw out that nuclear deal. It says in reimposed sanctions on the Islamic Republic, several nations were temporarily allowed to buy its oil, and just like it, including India, South Korea, and China. However, even those clients are under financial pressure from Washington and are therefore very cautious about dealing with Tehran, one of the top Iranian oil officials, Amir Hossein Zamani, revealed. China, India, South Korea, and all other countries, and if you look up some of those countries that have contracts with Iran are U.S. allies, man. All right, it says which the U.S. granted waivers to buy oil from Iran, would not even buy additional 1 barrel of oil from Iran, he has quoted as saying by the oil ministry, Shana News Industry, on Saturday. Okay? So they granted waivers for some of these people. It says, while there is little hope that in 180 days, U.S. waivers for those countries will be extended after they expire on May. Okay, so what? After those 180 days are over, there's no, like I say, there's no guarantee that those waivers are going to be extended. Okay, so what if those waivers aren't going to be extended? These people still need oil. These people still have pending contracts. So what, they just gonna go outside of the U.S., man, and continue to sell the oil. That's why America, they really want Iran, man. It's really burning in their spirit to get a hold of Iran, to really take over Iran, man. All right, now another reason is too, I'm gonna show you this. Okay, the Strait of Hormuz, all right? The Strait of Hormuz, the Persian, all right? Iran was called Persia at one point in time, I believe in the early 50s, all right? Their name was changed from Persia to Iran, all right? It says it's a strait between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, provides only sea passage from Persian Gulf to the open ocean, and is one of the world's most strategically important choke points. On the north coastlines, Iran, and south coasted United Arab Emirates. Okay, it says about 20% of the world petroleum and about 35% of the petroleum traded by sea passes through the strait. So 35% petroleum, okay, passes through that Strait of Hormuz, where Iran is constantly always conducting military drills in. So if they can get access to Iran, they can get control over that whole region, man. They can control the Middle East, man. All right, they can control the flow of oil. They can control the flow of that traffic coming in and out of there, man. So Iran is the one who they truly, truly want, okay? So they're like, man, that's the jackpot. But why you think Russia, man? Russia's not going to allow that, man. Neither Russia or China, okay? And neither will, hey, speaking of Russia or China, neither will Iran allow that, man, okay? Iran got some firepower too, okay? It says, regards to U.S. pressure, so I'm going to go down. Yeah, regards to U.S. pressure, the number of potential buyers of Iran's oil has increased. So regards to the pressure, you still got people like, man, we want to buy your oil, man, okay? Since 2018, U.S. President Donald Trump withdrew the nuclear deal, formerly known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, all right, citing its supposed flaws. The historic document was signed in 2015 between Iran, the UK, France, Germany, Russia, China, and EU. All other parties condemned the U.S. withdrawal. So look at this. These countries, Iran, the UK, the U.S., France, Germany, Russia, China, and the EU, it says they condemned the U.S. from drawing from that deal. Like, yo, you had a deal with Iran. Why are you withdrawing from that deal? Okay? It says Washington not only resumed anti-Iranian penalties that were enforced before the agreement, but pushed its allies to reduce imports of Iranian oil to zero. So going back to Revelation 17, the beast shall hate the whore. So they made Iran, they made its own allies, okay, reduce their imports to zero. So here it is, America, you have a problem with Iran, but we don't. We're doing business with Iran. Therefore, you messing up our business. You messing up our money. Okay? So that it's going to be big problems, man, here real soon. A third World War says threatening to introduce punitive measures against all states that violate the embargo. So look, here it is, America. They're threatening to put sanctions on their own allies. They threaten to cut off their own allies, man. So America is being isolated on all sides, man. It says, I'll read this last little bit. It says, meanwhile, Brussels has been trying to maintain a deal without Washington. The EU also is working to create a so-called special purpose vehicle to facilitate financial transactions between the bloc and Iran to bypass U.S. sanctions. So the EU, man, they looking to do a deal to bypass U.S. sanctions. It says in December, the EU's foreign policy chief, Federica Mogherini, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, announced that the system will be ready in the near future, man. So Lord's way, man. Yo, that's it, man. You know, that's it. I'm gonna close out with this one scripture, Isaiah 34:1. Matter of fact, I just pull it up. No, I ain't gonna pull it up. Then I have to exit out there. I'll read it. Isaiah 34:1, King James Version Bible. It says, "Come near, ye nations, to hear, and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein." So hear this gospel, man. Hear what the Lord is saying through His prophets, man. Okay, the world and all the things that come forth of it. It's like him. For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, His righteous anger, and His fury upon all their armies. So that's why He gathered you in the valley of Jehoshaphat. That's why He gathered all these armies together. That's why He's making all this controversy. The scriptures say, if Satan cast out Satan, how can a kingdom stand? And His kingdom is a so-called white man's kingdom, okay? He has delivered them to the slaughter. It says, their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood. And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll. And that's talking about that mushroom cloud, nuclear missiles, man, rolling together as a scroll. And all their hosts shall fall down. So all their hosts, all their armies shall fall down, as the leaf falleth from off the vine, and as the falling fig from a fig tree. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Okay, talking about the nuclear missile. Behold, it shall come upon Idumea. And Idumea is Greek for Edom. All right, Edom is red in the Hebrew. All right, Adawam is you so-called white people. And upon the people of my curse to the judgment. Mainly America, man. Amos 9th chapter. The eyes of the Lord God are upon his sinful kingdom, and he shall destroy off the face of the earth. Okay, verse 6. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood, and is made fat with fatness of the blood of lambs and goats, and the fatness of kidneys and rams. For the Lord hath sacrificed in Basra, all right, an ancient city in Edom, okay, that represent America primarily, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, okay. So America's going to be destroyed. All right, that's a current update on this Third World War. All right, so get ready, man. They're pulling out of Syria. All right, who knows? They, it might just be a publicity stunt, but they're pulling out of Syria. But their main point, they're pulling out of Syria. All right, a false flag might come, what, to blame Iran, to do something with Iran, man, so they can go into Iran. All right, because that's really the end game. That's really the end all be all. All right, Ezekiel 38th chapter. With that, Lord willing, edify. I'm going to give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the elder apostle, the great millstone, and blessing all you sincere laborers out there pushing this truth, and all sincerity, faith, and honesty. It's like it. Double honor to the elder apostle, the great millstone. Shalom.